You walk into a party or a networking event, high stakes, and someone looks you right in the eye, smiles, and asks the simplest question in the world. So what do you do?
And then total radio silence.
The hard reset, the blue screen of death in your brain. It's the mind blank moment. And the worst part is, you know the answer. You know what you do. You do it every single day. But suddenly, your palms are sweating, your brain freezes, and you feel like you've never spoken a single word of English in your entire life.
It is such a visceral experience. I mean, I think every language learner has been there. It's not a lack of knowledge, though. It's a failure of retrieval. It's that massive, terrifying gap between textbook competence, where everything is safe and slow and real-world pressure.
Yeah, that gap is exactly where we're living today. We are doing a deep dive into a really fascinating set of guides from the Fluent English Room, specifically looking at some insights from two coaches, Emily and Paul. And their argument is pretty radical, actually. They claim that this mind blank isn't a vocabulary problem at all.
No, not at all. It's not that you need to memorize more words. It is almost entirely a psychological problem.
That's the core of our deep dive today. We aren't here to give you a list of 50 idioms to memorize by tomorrow morning. We're looking at how to shift from what the source material calls robotic English, which is stiff, fearful, prone to crashing, to human English.
Human English, I really love that framing because it implies that the goal isn't perfection, but connection.
Precisely. The source identifies the villain here, and it is not bad grammar. It is the pressure to sound smart. Learners often think, if I use complex words or if I construct this perfect multi-clause sentence, people will respect me. But that pressure is the very thing that jams the gears.
Right, so in trying to sound intelligent, we end up staying completely silent. We're so afraid of sounding basic that we just choose to say nothing.
Which is the worst possible outcome. Silence breaks the connection. A mistake just bends it. If you say something wrong, we can still dance. But if you say nothing, the music stops.
Exactly. And the solution Emily and Paul propose is a set of tools they call confidence words.
They use this great analogy of traffic signs, don't they?
They do. Think of your sentence as a road. If you don't know where to go, you stop driving. These confidence words are little traffic signs that tell the listener and your own brain, honestly, where you are in time and how you feel. They are simple, small words that instantly upgrade you from a beginner A1 level to a confident B1 level.
Before we get into the specific words, because there are some really surprising ones in here, I want to dig a bit deeper into the psychology of that freeze. Why does it happen? Is it just pure nervousness?
Well, the source describes it as the fear of imperfection. When you learn from a textbook, there's a right answer and a wrong answer. It's very binary. But in a real conversation, it's fluid. A learner often tries to construct the entire sentence in their head, perfecting every single conjugation before they even open their mouth.
It's like building a house of cards in your mind.
That's exactly it. And if one card is missing just one preposition or article, the whole house collapses and they say nothing. They freeze because the structure isn't perfect yet.
So the philosophy here is say it wrong, but say it.
Say it simply and say it now. The traffic signs we're going to discuss are designed to buy you thinking time. They signal to the listener, I am still here, I am thinking, keep listening, which prevents that awkward silence from taking over the conversation.
Okay, let's look at the first traffic sign. It's a word that seems incredibly mundane on the surface, but the source argues it's a total game changer for how you present yourself. The word is currently.
Currently. It sounds so functional, doesn't it? But let's look at the difference in the vibe it gives off. Imagine a beginner, or what the source calls an A1 robot speaker. They get asked, what do you do? And they say, I work in an office.
It's grammatically correct, but it's dry. It lands with a thud.
Right, it's a static fact. It feels permanent and locked. It's just data, like reading a barcode. Now compare that to the B1 or confident version. Currently, I'm working in an office.
It immediately feels softer, less rigid. It feels like a conversation opener rather than a final statement of fact.
It does more than soften it. It adds a dimension of time. Currently situates the speaker in the now. It subtly implies, this is what I am doing today, but I have a past, and I might do something else in the future. It turns a flat fact into a narrative.
The source uses the example of Maria from Mexico for this.
Yes. So Maria works in customer service. If she just lists facts, I have experience in service, it sounds like she's reading her resume out loud. It's robotic. But if she says, currently I'm working in customer service, she sounds like a professional having a casual conversation about her career trajectory.
It gives the impression of agency, doesn't it? Like, I am choosing to do this right now.
Yes, and from a practical standpoint, it buys you a split second of rhythm. Currently, it lets you breathe before you hit the main verb. It signals to the listener that a story is coming, not just a label.
That leads us perfectly into the second traffic sign, which is similar but has a really specific psychological superpower. The phrase is, at the moment.
At the moment.
Now, how is this different from currently? They seem interchangeable. Can I just use either one?
You can. They are very close. But at the moment is particularly powerful for hobbies, temporary projects, and this is the big one, dealing with gaps in employment.
Oh, this is huge. I think that gap is where the shame really lives for a lot of people. You know, that dread when someone asks what you do and you aren't doing anything paid right now.
Absolutely. It is a social minefield. If you ask someone what they do and they're unemployed, there's often this physical flinch. They might say, I don't have a job, or I am unemployed.
Which feels like a confession. It feels like failure.
Right, it labels the person I am unemployed, sounds like a permanent identity, like I am tall or I am French. The source suggests reframing this entirely using the traffic sign. Instead of accepting the negative label, you use the phrase to signal a temporary state. You say, at the moment, I'm looking for a job. Or, at the moment, I'm focusing on my studies.
That shifts the energy from passive to active.
Completely. It changes a negative state into an active pursuit. You aren't jobless, you are job hunting. It's a small linguistic shift that completely changes how the listener perceives you, and more importantly, how you perceive yourself.
It works for hobbies too, right? The source had a funny bit about learning English.
Yes. The source points out how robotic it sounds to say, I learn English.
It sounds like a prison sentence. I learn English every day, forever.
Exactly. It's heavy. It sounds like a chore. But if you say, at the moment, I'm learning English online, it implies action, effort, and engagement. It makes you sound busy and interesting. It invites a follow-up question like, oh, how is that going?
It's amazing how these little phrases, currently, at the moment, act as social lubricants. They keep the gears turning.
That is the goal. We want to avoid that full stop feeling. We want commas. We want flow.
Let's move to the third traffic sign. This one gets a little more into the emotional side of things. It's about the art of being. The phrase is, right now.
Right now. This one is fascinating because the source combines it with the continuous verb form being to separate the person from the emotion. This is a bit of a nuanced grammar point, but the psychological payoff is massive.
Break that down for us. What do you mean by separating the person from the emotion?
Okay, let's say you're nervous about speaking English. A robotic or A1 speaker might say, my English is bad, or I am shy.
Ouch. That's harsh self-talk. And again, it sounds like a permanent trait. I have brown eyes and I am shy.
Exactly. It labels the identity. You are claiming shyness or bad English as a permanent part of who you are. But using the traffic sign, you would say, right now I'm feeling a little nervous. Or even better, right now I am being a bit slow.
I am being. That's an interesting construction. We usually just learn I am happy or I am sad.
Right, but I am being signals a temporary behavior. Think of it this way. If I say you are silly, that's your personality. I'm saying you're a silly person. If I say you are being silly, that's just what you're doing right now. You can stop being silly whenever you want. So if a learner says, right now I am being a bit slow with my words, they aren't admitting to being stupid. They are describing a temporary cloud passing over.
That is incredibly powerful psychology. It takes the pressure off the speaker because they aren't admitting to a flaw. They are just reporting on the current weather in their brain.
And the source points out something lovely here. It invites the listener to be caring. If you say, I am bad at English, people don't know what to say. It's awkward.
Right. Do they argue with you? No, you're great. It just feels fake.
Exactly. It forces them to compliment you, which is uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But if you say, right now I'm feeling nervous, the natural human response is empathy. Oh, don't worry, take your time.
It humanizes the interaction. It stops being a test and starts being a conversation between two actual people.
That's the human English shift. It is vulnerability used as a strength.
Speaking of tests, there is a trap that the source mentions, which I think everyone falls into, regardless of the language they are learning. They call it the yes, yes, yes trap.
Ah, the panic nod.
The panic nod. We have all done it. Someone speaks to you, maybe a bit too fast, you miss a few key words, panic sets in, and you just start nodding and saying yes, yes, yes to everything.
It's a survival mechanism. You don't want to disrupt the flow. You don't want to admit you're lost, so you just agree. But the source argues it actually kills your confidence because you end up agreeing to things you don't understand. You lose your authority in the conversation.
So what is the fix? Because saying I don't understand over and over is also demoralizing.
The fix is the power of the short answer.
Yeah.
And this brings us to a specific grammar point that often gets overlooked, the auxiliary verb.
The helper verb.
Right. Many learners try to answer a question by repeating the main verb. So if I ask, do you like coffee? A learner might answer, yes, I like.
Which sounds incomplete. It sounds like waiting for the other shoe.
To drop.
Yeah.
Yes. It sounds shaky. It sounds like you're translating directly from your native language.
Hmm.
The confident human English way is to latch on to the auxiliary verb, the anchor of the question. Do you like coffee? Becomes, yes, I do.
Or the negative.
No, I don't. Or even more bravely, in the past tense, no, I didn't.
The source actually calls a clear no an act of bravery. That really stuck with me.
It is. No, I didn't. Sounds infinitely more fluent than a confused, no, I not, or just a panic, yes. It signals to the other person, I heard you, I understood the grammar of your question, I know it was past tense, and here is my definitive answer.
It's crisp. It stops the waffle.
And it prevents the yes, yes, yes crap because you're actively engaged with the structure of the question, not just letting the sound wash over you. You are catching the ball and throwing it back.
So yes, I do. No, I didn't. Yes, I have. These are power moves.
Absolute power moves. They are short, but they are strong. They function like periods at the end of a sentence. They say, I have spoken.
Moving on, we have a section that the source calls time travel. This focuses on the difference between did and do. And honestly, I hadn't thought about grammar as being emotional before, but this makes a lot of sense.
It's about the narrative of growth. We're back to how we frame our abilities. The source compares two sentences. One is, I don't understand English.
Present tense. Static. Sad. I don't understand. It feels like a wall.
It implies you never will. It describes your current reality as a failure. Now, look at the second option. I didn't understand English before.
Oh, wow. That implies, but now I might, or now I am starting to.
It implies progress. By using did, the past tense, you are telling a story. I didn't understand before, suggests that you are on a journey of improvement. It changes the narrative from I am incapable to I was incapable, but I am learning.
That's that growth mindset again. You're using grammar to give yourself credit for the work you've done.
Exactly. And there's a practical clean English rule here, too, regarding did. The source reminds us that did is the heavy lifter for the past tense.
Yo, this is a classic mistake spot. Did you went?
Right. Learners want to be super clear it's the past, so they put everything in the past. Did, which is past, and went, which is past. They double down. But English is lazy in a smart way. If you use did, the job is done. The main verb can relax.
So did you go?
Yes. Did carries the baggage of the past, so the verb doesn't have to. It's cleaner, it's simpler, and it sounds much more fluent.
I really like that image. Did is the time traveler carrying the luggage.
And once you master that, you can move on to the heavy hitters of connection. We've talked about currently and did. But the source brings up two concepts for making duper human connections. Been and would have. Let's start with been.
Been. The present perfect continuous. Just saying the name of the tense scares people.
It sounds terrifying, but the concept is beautiful. Been is the journey word. It implies consistency. If you say, I study English, that's fine, it's a fact. But if you say, I've been practicing every night, you are adding weight to the action.
It sounds like dedication. It sounds like sweat equity.
It turns an action into a piece of your life story. I've been waiting implies patience. I have been working on this implies struggle and effort. It adds texture to your English that the simple present or past tense just can't achieve.
It essentially says, I started this in the past and I am still doing it now and it matters to me.
Exactly. Connects the dots of your life. It shows you aren't just popping into existence right now, you have a history.
And then there's would have. The source calls this the empathy tool. Why empathy?
Because would have is the language of regret, politeness, and intention. It is vital for social lubrication. Let's look at the scenario of missing a meeting or a party.
Okay. Give me the robotic or bad version.
I missed it. Or I didn't come.
Blunt. Bit cold. It sounds like you just decided not to show up. I didn't come. End of story.
Maybe, but consider the human version. I would have come, but I got caught up at work.
That changes everything. It says, my intention was good. I wanted to be there. Reality just got in the way.
Precisely. It validates the other person. It says, you are important to me. The source mentions a relationship context, losing a phone. If you just don't call someone for 3 days and then say, I lost my phone, they might think you don't care.
Right, sounds like an excuse. Yeah, you lost your phone, sure.
But if you say, I would have called you, but I lost my phone, it preserves the relationship. It sounds warm. It sounds respectful. It tells the other person what was in your heart, not just what was in your hand.
It signals that in an alternate universe where you had your phone, you were dialing their number.
And that is the definition of human English. It's not just transmitting data. It's managing feelings and relationships. It's about intent.
So we have all these tools. Currently, at the moment, right now, short answers like yes, I do, did, been, would have. The source suggests putting this all together into what they call the introduction map.
Right. This is the antidote to the mind blank we started with. Instead of trying to memorize a rigid script that you might forget, you just remember 4 anchor points: name, place, work, or study, and a confidence detail.
Let's hear the transformation. Can you give us the A1 robot version first?
Sure. Imagine Anna. She says, I'm Anna. I'm from Poland. I live in Warsaw. I'm learning English.
Accurate, but choppy. Staccato. It sounds like she's filling out a form at the bank.
Now let's use the traffic signs.
Yeah.
I'm Anna from Poland. Currently, I live in Warsaw. I've been learning English because I want to be fluent one day.
It flows. It has a real rhythm to it.
It has a past, a present, and a future. Currently anchors her in Warsaw now. Been shows her journey with English. And want to be shows her ambition. It's a complete picture of a human being in just 2 sentences.
And what I love is that the source emphasizes that even with this map, mistakes are okay. They actually mention a specific mistake that learners make. I am been tired.
Yes, they call this a good mistake.
How can a mistake be good? We are taught that mistakes are bad. Red pen on the paper bad.
In this philosophy, a mistake is evidence of ambition. If a learner says, I am been tired, they are trying to combine I am, which is present, with been, which is duration. They are wrestling with a complex concept of time. The source says we should celebrate that effort.
And frankly, if someone said, I'm been tired to me, I would know exactly what they meant.
A native speaker would understand instantly. They'd know you mean, I have been tired. The message gets through perfectly.
So the connection is maintained.
And that leads to the golden rule of the entire source material.
Yeah.
If you take one thing away from this deep dive, it should be this: never, ever apologize for your English.
Sorry for my English. Man, I hear this constantly. It's almost like a reflex for some people.
Don't do it. The moment you say sorry for my English, you lower your status. You frame yourself as a burden to the listener. You are telling them, speaking to me is going to be difficult.
But we feel like we're being polite. We're trying to lower expectations so they don't judge us. It feels like humility.
It feels polite, but it's actually distracting. It draws attention to the medium, the language, rather than the message. If you apologize, the other person now has to stop and reassure you. Oh, no, your English is fine. No, really, I understand you.
And now we're talking about my English, not about business or the party.
Exactly. You've hijacked the conversation.
Yeah.
You've made it about your insecurity rather than the topic at hand.
Yeah.
If you stumble, just correct it and move on.
I didn't went up.
I didn't go.
That's it. Keep moving. It's like tripping on the sidewalk. You don't stop, get down on your knees, and apologize to the concrete. You just keep walking.
Perfect analogy. Just keep walking. Nobody remembers the trip if you keep walking with confidence.
So let's recap this journey. We've gone from the terror of the mind blank, that moment where the brain just shuts down, to having a pocket full of traffic signs. We know that currently and at the moment buy us time and make us sound professional.
We've learned that right now I am being separates our identity from our temporary struggles, which is a huge psychological relief.
We've seen that short answers like, yes, I do, are power moves that stop the panic nod and assert control over the conversation.
And we've seen how would have serves as an empathy tool to save relationships when things go wrong, allowing us to express our good intentions even when reality fails us.
It really is a massive shift from viewing English as a test you have to pass to a tool you use to connect with other humans.
And as Emily and Paul from the source material remind us, progress loves patience. You don't have to use all of these tomorrow. You don't need to jam currently, been, and would have into one single sentence. That would just be a mess.
Just pick one. Next time someone asks, what do you do? Swap I work for currently I'm working. Just that one switch can start the psychological shift.
Absolutely. It's about small wins. Confidence isn't a destination you arrive at, it's a practice. It's something you build brick by brick, word by word.
So we want to leave you with a thought to mull over today. We've talked a lot about the internal shift from apology to intention.
Right, here's the question. We often think we need confidence before we can speak well. We wait to feel ready. But what if we have the equation backward?
Does the confidence come from the perfect grammar, or does the grammar eventually follow the confidence?
I suspect it's the latter. If you stopped apologizing for your perceived lack of skill, stopped saying sorry, and instead started using language to frame your intentions, using phrases like, I would have, or currently I am focusing on, how might that change how people perceive you?
And more importantly, how might it change how you perceive yourself?
That is the real question. When you sound like a professional, you start to feel like one.
Something to think about the next time you're at a party and someone asks, "So, what do you do?"
Thanks for listening to this deep dive into human English. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye, everyone.